JWINK reviews here again. Today I'm reviewing the Depstech Industrial Endoscope Digital Boroscope model DS300. Now, I have two of them here because Depstech makes two different versions of the same model. They have a single lens and the dual lens. And for all intents and purposes, they're the same in terms of my overall review, with the exception of, again, one having dual lens capability, and I'll get into that in a second. Now, included in the package, of course, is the endoscope with a 4-inch screen. Both models have a 16-foot inspection cable, a little instruction manual, a warranty card, a USB charging cable, and as well as some attachments that I just dropped in a container here. That includes a protective cap, a hook, a side mirror, and a magnet as here as well. And again, in that little plastic container, as well as a 32 gigabyte SD card that's already in the endoscope. So the manual, in my opinion, is including the online one, is basic and doesn't even reference the attachments. So it took me a minute to figure out what the attachments actually were and how to attach them. But really, there should be some more details in both the online manual and the included manual, in my opinion. But basically, to change the end piece here, you just basically unscrew this little end cap here at the end and attach whichever attachment here you want to use and screw on. Now, the one that I find the most useful, in my opinion, is the magnetized one, as it does seem powerful enough to get some small metal items that you've dropped into the drain or areas you can't reach, a way to get something metal out of there. Now, I would have liked to seen included in this package to have some type of small protective case for the endoscope included, but unfortunately it was not. Another addition that I think would be important is some type of either handle stand or a flip out leg for the screen here, as I would think there's some situations where holding or putting flat somewhere is not practical. So I would have liked to seen that included in here, but it's not. With that being said, though, the inspection camera is pretty decent considering the price. The single lens is around $70 and the dual lens here is about $80. I mean, it works well enough to see, and I'm going to include some video here in the review to see, but it includes enough video resolution to see what you need to see. And each the models have some bright lights here on the end, which again I'll show in a second. Let me turn that on just real quick. Has some bright lights that is good enough for viewing in a location or whatever. And then of course, let me pull up the screen a little close. You can see the screen is pretty decent as well. Now, again, this has a really good long cable, although I do wish that it was detachable. In this particular model, both of the single and dual lens, it is not. But it is bendable and fits well in small places. Now, the biggest difference between the two cameras in that respect is this particular camera lens is a bit longer and a bit larger than the one for the single lens, and that may make it, again, a little more difficult to use in certain situations where you need a smaller camera size. So that's a big difference there. Now, the video screen works okay, although this particular screen is the type that is hard to view at certain angles. I kind of wish they would have put a little bit different type of viewing screen so that it's more viewable at all angles, but it is difficult at times to see if you're viewing at a slight angle. Again, I would like to see this cable detachable for easier storage to keep it from being damaged or for being able to replace with a longer cable if you need it. You can store pictures and videos again on the included card here, which is at the bottom of this flap underneath, which is also where the charging port is and the charging light. And again, that can be useful for taking. You could take either video or pictures with this particular endoscope. Batteries last about 4 hours, which I think is a bit short, and you can't. There appears to be no way to replace the batteries here at all. I would have liked to have been able to replace that, but it doesn't appear accessible to do so. Again, I do wish that there was some type of stand, flip out leg, handle, something to make this easier to deal with and hold. But for the most part, the endoscope does what it's supposed to do. The buttons here include the camera video button, play and record, 180-degree viewing change. Also, for the dual screen, this also serves as a purpose to switch from one camera to the other or to both cameras at the same time. Menu button, the play OK, plus minus, forward back buttons, and then of course the power button, which you hold down for two seconds to turn on. The buttons work well and are pretty comfortable to use. Now again, as I've mentioned previously here, there's 6 lights at the end of this camera for both the single and dual lens, and then there's like basically one there for the second lens for the dual. The lighting works well, you know, putting down drains, things like that. According to the manual, the focal distance is about 5 to 10 centimeters, or between 2 and 4 inches, somewhere in that neighborhood. Now, the endoscope is water resistant, and the camera can be used in wet environments, and I've used this in the sink drains, had no issues with that. And again, the photos that I'm going to attach here are pretty decent for a camera this size, and I'll show those right now. Charging is fairly quick, taking a couple hours to charge. To me, again, there's a little small light right here, like in between the charging port and the memory port. It's a little red light that flashes when it's charging, becomes solid red when it's done. I think that this really needs a better charging indicator. One that's more visible and that's at the terrible location, and secondly, one that kind of gives you a better indicator that it's charged. Most devices these days go from red to blue, for example. Instead of this one, just stays red. So, I don't particularly like that. I wish there was a better indicator on this. Now, Depstech has a good warranty for this, 24 months, although my concern being an unknown brand or a not as well-known brand, how they live up to that warranty. And again, I can't attest to that, being not familiar with the particular brand. Again, both are reasonably priced. Again, for endoscope, again, roughly $60 for the single, $80 for the dual. Pros for these devices, again, reasonably priced. They have good lighting on them. A decent small camera. Although not perfect, a decent video screen. Again, both photo and video recording capable, and the quality is okay in that respect. A good warranty, a long bendable camera cable, and the useful accessories for the price. Now, the cons with both of these, again, the instruction manual is kind of weak. Battery charging indicator could be better. You can't replace the battery. The cable's not detachable. There's no case, no handle, no stand. And again, with the single, the single one, of course, lacks a second camera by nature, by its definition. And again, for the dual, the pros and cons are essentially the same at an added cost of around $20. Again, a couple downsides to this is, you can't appear to switch cameras or go to dual mode if recording. And the second camera, again, makes this end a bit longer and larger, making it more difficult to fit into small spaces. But overall, I mean, my initial use of this and tryout of this ranks 4 out of 5 stars, or about an 83 out of 100 for the single lens and an 86 out of 100 for the dual. So this is JWINK Reviews. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or anything in particular you'd like for me to try to review, or if you'd like for me to review, please let me know. Also, please subscribe and spread the word, help my little channel grow. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.